Hello and welcome to CommsLife by APCO Worldwide. I'm your host, Tom Billinghurst. Every week we take a deep dive into the topics and trends shaping the communications industry and beyond. At the start of July, some 129 billion face masks and 65 billion plastic gloves were being produced every month. In a concerning recent trend, however, many of them are being carelessly thrown away after one use and are ending up on our streets and in our oceans. In the French Côte d'Azur, there are even concerns from environmentalists that the Mediterranean waters will soon be home to more face masks than jellyfish. And in the UAE, conservationists have warned that this new trend has curtailed recycling efforts and added to the 8 million tons of plastic that enter our oceans every year. It is time that recycling and the potential for waste to energy conversion is placed front and center of industry dialogues. But what capacity does our rubbish and refuse actually have for providing alternative energy sources? And how viable is it? Joining us to discuss these questions and more is Firas Wahbeh, Director of Marketing and CSR at Beeah, the sustainability solutions pioneer based in the UAE. Firas, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tom. It's great to be on this podcast, my first one.
Thanks for taking the time to join us from Sharjah. Beeah's best known for waste management. You obviously have a lot more than just that going on. We see the ubiquitous Beeah logos on the vehicles on the road. So what is waste management itself all about? What are you doing in this space?
We were founded in 2007 to tackle all environmental challenges. And for obvious reasons, we started by focusing on the challenge of waste, because we know that as we all know, the waste generation per capita here is one of the highest in the world. We are the only integrated waste management company in the region. And what that means is that we handle the whole waste management process, from waste collection all the way to waste treatment and recycling, waste disposal of what is not recyclable. So we have, our clients can be anything from a whole emirate, so such as the Emirate of Sharjah, or it could be a city like the city of Abu Dhabi, or it could be a commercial client, which is a commercial building or any type of structure such as Burj Khalifa, such as Dubai airports. So CommsLife handles the waste collection and provides the infrastructure for all of these areas to have to collect recyclables from them. But then what happens to that waste is that it ends up in our waste management complex, where we have multiple recycling facilities that recover all the resources. So we don't consider waste as obviously something that goes to waste, but rather a resource that can be repurposed into a circular economy. And since 2018, we've been able to divert about 76% of that waste that we collect away from going to landfill. And this means that only 24% of that waste is going to landfill. And we have a plan to achieve zero waste to landfill, and that we're doing that through our joint venture with Masdar, where we're launching the country's first waste energy facility. It'll be here in Sharjah. That's where we've hung our hat on, is with waste management. And through that, we've been able to now, actually this year, extend beyond the UAE, and we've expanded into Egypt and Saudi Arabia, because they've seen kind of what we've done here and what we can take to new markets and new territories.
Are there specific challenges to this country in particular with the willingness to take part in this? Unless you give them a solution and say, here is your red bin, that's where your dry waste goes. Here is your blue bin, that's where your wet waste goes. How do you ingrain that attitude and willingness into the populace?
I think, first of all, what we've done here and wherever we serve is we make sure that we have the infrastructure for them for residents to recycle, or even commercial buildings, by having the separated bins, specific bins for your recyclable waste or your dry waste away from your wet waste or your mixed waste. What we've tried to focus on, to focus on an effective solution, is we've really tried to focus our energy and our investments and our efforts into the education sector. So we're talking about kids from KG up to grade 12. And we've put in a program specifically for those age groups and for schools to basically engage schools, engage parents, and engage the kids. Because ultimately what we're trying to do is create generational change. But we'll really know the effect of it in the next decade or so, once that generation comes to the workforce and grows up.
You mentioned environmental education. How important is climate change, and what's the correlation between recycling and climate change? How devastating is it going to be for a worsening planet if this issue of recycling and waste management isn't taken seriously?
Yeah, there's multiple effects for waste in general, and how we generate our waste and the kind of waste that we generate in terms of its impact on climate change and the environment as a whole. Landfills is a big issue, and just today we actually announced a new project for us, and I'll use this opportunity to maybe talk about it a little bit.
I think I saw some coverage in Bloomberg, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Excellent.
So with our plan to achieve zero waste in the next few years, and being able to have the waste to energy facility actively keeping waste away from landfills beyond the recycling facilities that were already doing that. So like I said, we have 76%. With the waste energy facility, we'll reach very close to 100%. So what we've tried to do is repurpose our landfill sites that we have into solar farms to create renewable energy. So that's where we're trying to go beyond just achieving zero waste, but now going from solving a waste problem by also creating a energy opportunity. So that's how we look at things from a circular point of view, is being able to always take it to that further step to really close the loop on how we can have the least environmental impact possible. Waste itself also has a lot of this impact, whether it's into the air or even in the soil. And that's what a lot of people don't think about, is that waste, if it's not managed properly, can also contaminate sort of the groundwater, underground water sources, can create a lot of issues, can create bad odor. So again, it's going all the way around, and it's has multiple impacts on climate change.
The other thing that you are heavily invested in is waste to energy conversion. So can you tell us what that means, how that works, and what the potential is there? I mean, is that a game changer? Is there enough energy going to be produced from waste?
So waste energy is one of our biggest projects and one of our biggest investments here. And the waste energy project that we started with our joint venture is the Sharjah Waste Energy Facility that's in our waste management complex. So the material recovery facility that I referred to, where we're segregating or trying to recover as much from household waste and municipal waste as possible, what's not recovered and what's not going into our other recycling facilities and ends up right now in landfill, the idea is for it to go into the waste energy facility. And that facility will be able to handle 300,000 tons of waste a year. And out of that will generate 30 megawatts of power. And that can power 28,000 homes.
Fantastic. 28,000 homes is roughly the same as the population of San Marino or Gibraltar. So it has the potential to power an entire nation, which is incredible when you think about it. Now, Firas, you are the Director of Marketing and, importantly, CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility. So I guess it goes without saying that you must have had relatively busy time during the pandemic, what with Beeah being deployed to the front lines to be an integral part of the UAE's disinfection drive. Tell us what that was like for you as someone managing this process for a company that was physically disinfecting the streets when everyone was at home during the lockdown days, and how crazy that was as someone in your position that's managing the comms and the marketing for what's going on.
We quickly scaled up in terms of the equipment we needed, the infrastructure we needed, the material that we needed, the expertise that we needed to be able to handle this situation.
Around about the time that Wuhan was going into lockdown, your team was saying, this is a very, very real possibility it could happen here. Let's get ready for it.
Exactly, yes. The people who were first to kind of move and acquire it, that helped us be able to kind of move quickly and be able to support the government here in the national disinfection program. And so we were able to be there from day one with all the right equipment, with all the right material and expertise to really do it at a massive scale. So that's what helped us. We had 100 vehicles assigned to this. We had over 150 workers specifically assigned to this. We covered 47,000 kilometers of roads during those 90 days. We used 222,000 liters of disinfectant. We spent 122,000 hours of vehicle hours and man hours to really manage the situation. Every night during those 90 days of the disinfection program, we were out there on the streets. The big difference between us and many other brands is that we didn't have to manufacture relevancy. So I saw a lot of brands do good communications work or campaigns or TV ads, videos on social media, trying to keep themselves relevant during a time when they're not really active. What we had as an advantage for me as someone who's leading a marketing department is that we were actually active and we had a role to play. So that made it a little bit easier for us. Nothing about this was easy, but that made it a little bit easier for us to actually be genuine and to actually still be relevant during these times. So that helped us to still create a lot of stories through our social media. Our preferred channel of communication is always through social media. Our preferred form of communication is through video. So because we like to, we focus a lot on storytelling, and video lends itself to that. But we also obviously communicate through PR channels and through various mediums. So the idea was to really keep the momentum going, educate people, help people be more aware of the situation, what's the right thing to do. So we quickly created a website called For a Better Tomorrow, and that had a lot of tips and instructions on the best practices and the right habits during this time. So to spread awareness, we were trying to create awareness for what Beeah's role was and how people can also help contribute to that. We were trying to leverage national pride. So I think during times of crisis, there's always and the UAE is unique in that, in the diversity of its people here, but people really rally around during a time of crisis and bond together. And we wanted to kind of help make that happen even more. So we created a campaign around that as well.
Firas, lastly, to kind of round off this conversation, from just listening to you and the things that are happening over there, it's like this ecosystem that is driven by social impact. There's, like you said, it was perhaps a bit short-sighted to qualify or describe Beeah as a waste management solutions provider, because there's so much happening there, almost like a mini city, a mini AI smart city. I guess the question is, as the director of CSR, what does this impact revolution mean to you, and how do you embed that into Beeah's DNA?
Sure. So It's a very good question. So with Beeah being a homegrown UAE company, that's, like I mentioned earlier, a public-private partnership, social impact was really part of our ethos from when we were sort of conceived, really. And obviously with sustainability, sustainability is not just about the environment around you, but also about your community and what you can do within your society. So that's where our vision is not just about providing a solution for to solve a problem or to address a need, but it's really to create a sustainable future, a sustainable quality of life, in the present and future. I really want to make it clear that Beeah as a whole is a socially minded, purpose-driven organization, and not everything, even though, like I mentioned, we're commercially minded, not everything for us is about a return on investment. It's a lot of it is also about creating that ecosystem that you referred to, which is the perfect term for what we try to create. We try to create this ecosystem for a better quality of life.
We're still here with Firas Wahbeh, the Director of Marketing and CSR at Beeah. Firas, thanks for sticking around. We've talked about some pretty heavy, hard-hitting topics there in recycling, climate change, waste management, and the future of sustainable cities. But now we would like to get to know the professional, the person beneath the professional, should I say. So I'm going to throw some getting to know you questions at you, if you're okay with that.
Sounds good.
Let's do this. All right. First up, cats or dogs?
Dogs for sure.
I am told that you are a basketball player and fan. So the $1 million question, Michael Jordan or LeBron James, who are you taking?
This is going to be like controversial, but neither. I don't like either one. I don't like either one of them. But if I had to choose one, I would choose Michael Jordan.
Books or music?
Music for sure.
What did you want to be when you were growing up?
A professional tennis player.
Tennis?
Yes.
If you could relive one moment of your life, what would it be?
Okay, so this is a tricky question.
You can't pick
this is gonna sound
one or
like
the other birth of either child.
Yeah.
That's favoritism.
So I'm gonna. Yeah, exactly. I can't pick one of those. But I'm gonna pick an event that was connected to that. So the moment my wife told me she was pregnant with our first child, my daughter. So I would want to relive that, not because it was such an amazing moment, but because I handled it so badly, and she's never let me forget it. I was speechless for about 48 hours and couldn't talk to her, and I was just so overcome with the fear of this new responsibility, which I know is a bit strange for someone who was actually, we wanted to have the kids, but when it finally happened and I was told that she was pregnant, I just was not prepared for the moment, and I was in shock, and I kind of just didn't handle it well. So I want to relive it and handle it better and show a bit more joy, because I am the sort of proudest dad and the most active dad I could possibly be, and she's definitely daddy's girl.
Firas, thank you so much for your time. It was great talking to you. Thanks for appearing on CommsLife.
Great talking to you too. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to CommsLife. For more episodes, you can download the CommsLife podcast from Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Keep up to date with everything from the CommsLife team by following our social media pages on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Stay safe and be well.